Hello everyone, welcome here to the grand finals of DreamHack Masters Spring 2021 MARU versus REYNOR. But before we get on into things, before we get on introduce our players in this series, really get excited, of course, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all those fun stuff. Let us know whether we're doing a good job here, what you want to see more of, because we are going to be uploading a lot of stuff. But anyways, that's it. That's the disclaimer I gotta give, because now it is the grand finals here. REYNOR versus MARU, and spotting in the upper right, in the red, he is the Italian stallion, the young kid from Italy. He is REYNOR. And his opponent here, spotting the bottom left, in the red, the most decorated player in GSL history. He is MARU. And it is very interesting what we see here on one of the larger maps in the pool, because REYNOR, he didn't go for a 12 pool, right? He's not that aggressive, but he has gone for what I believe was a 15 pool in this game number one, which is interesting in the extreme. Because of course the standard build, 16, 18, 17, that's what you do. It gets you, well, gets you in a really good economic position. You're pretty happy about things. But it's maybe not as safe against a proxy build as a 15 pools, what we see REYNOR doing here. So it appears that REYNOR, as he gets on into things, is buying into the idea that MARU has so carefully cultivated over the years, that MARU will proxy barracks you given the opportunity. So it will be a 15 pool here, where we will see those 6 Zerglings early on. And because REYNOR did see that SCV running across the map at the time that he did, he's actually going to move out here with a bunch of Zerglings and try to see whether he can delay the command center on the low ground. Which, well, this is going to get scouted from MARU. The 2 Zerglings will be paired off, and we'll see that. But the other 4 Zerglings were not scouted here by this SCV. So we will have the Reaper on the way. It's going to be a little bit reticent about moving out. Actually, it's going to look to save the Zerglings. So the Zerglings will go down. At least one of them most likely will. But that means that the 4 other Zerglings have caught MARU off guard. He was not aware that they were sectioned off, because, well, why would you do that, right? Normally you keep them at home defensively. So these 4 Zerglings should be able to delay the command center, even with the 1 Marine out. Although REYNOR may, yeah, okay, he's going to move up here on the high ground with these 3 Zerglings, looking to talk down, looking to kill off this Marine before anything does happen. 1 Marine goes down with the SCV pull. The 2nd Marine will stay alive here. And now it is 1 Zergling trying to delay things. And the SCV should not even go. Yeah, the SCV won't go on down here. So it's just a scouting Zergling, or scouting 2 Zerglings, actually, as one of them did escape. And the SCV will go down after all here. So at the end of the day, the base is delayed. 1 Marine goes down, 1 SCV goes down. And that means REYNOR is exceedingly happy about how this game has started. It's not game-breaking damage, not by any way, shape, or fashion, but it is something, right? It does give REYNOR just the smallest little bit of advantage that he may look to parlay into a bigger advantage as the game goes on. Now, REYNOR here, we don't see anything weird from him. Nothing, he's not throwing out the fancy builds in game number 1, and this makes sense, right? When we look at best of X series, particularly best of 5, best of 7 series, game 1 is a game where you feel out your opponent. As this Overlord should go down with the 1 Marine, sent out rather early. Normally you don't see this, but MARU is aware of REYNOR's scouting patterns. He's like, okay, well, the Overlord's going to go there, so I'm going to be able to, oh, okay then, never mind. Well, 2 HP left on that Overlord. A little bit of missed micro there for MARU. If he had stutter step forward, he would have been able to kill it off. And we will actually see a barracks going. Does this mean we're going to see mech here? Normally, right, you kind of want that constant barracks production, or at the very least you want add-ons from that barracks to keep it alive, to be able to make use out of it. And this almost makes me think that we're going to see mech here from MARU in game number 1, which, you know, you don't ever expect mech for MARU playing TVZ, but with the barracks, the lack of production time there kind of makes that look like it's going to be a possibility. So we're going to have to take a look, keep an eye on things, especially keep an eye on when the gas, how much gas is taken in the natural. But we see the tech lab going down in the barracks, so most likely this is going to be bio. Of course, it is Hellion Banshee, and you don't really need quite as much bio on the ground. You don't really need quite as much production cycles there from that barracks if you're going Hellion Banshee here, because your tech, right, your Hellions, your Banshees, ideally they're keeping the Zerg on the other side of the map. So that timing that you may have built for yourself, the timing where you're a little bit vulnerable, is of course buffered by having Hellions, Banshees on the other side of the map. Meanwhile, Reynor not really taking much damage. He does morph a spore to keep a worker alive, but it doesn't matter anyways because he wants that spore regardless. He wants to be able to make sure that he is, well, that he doesn't take any damage here from these Banshees as they do look to run across the map. There we go. Stim is on the way. It's not going to be mech from MARU here in this game, number one. We're not going to see any zany shenanigans of quite that level of zaniness just yet. There we go. Extra barracks on the way. Extra eBays on the way. MARU's not taking much damage. Reynor's taking a little, or MARU's not taking, or Reynor has not taken much damage. MARU's taking a little. And that means this game is perfectly situated to go late. And personally, that's what I'm hoping for, right? I don't want to see any 5-6 minute games here in the grand finals. These two players are just the best in the world at their respective matchups at TVZ. Well, I don't know. Clem's probably arguably best in the world at TVZ, but he's not here. Anyway, the Banshees will get one queen down immediately, and second queen's going to go down as well here because there's no energy for the transfuse, and that is already fantastic damage. Notice he's like, yeah, okay, we're going to get queens, and then there's some free banelings. 25 gas, really, yeah, 25 gas ish. Yeah, 25 gas, 75 odd minerals. It's value added. As the Banshees will be forced on out here because, well, while Reynor did take some damage here, he's done a very good job of targeting down one Banshee in particular, which means that while one Banshee is rather low, it's a little bit more difficult to deal with. But MARU is finding so much damage here with this Hellion Banshee in game number one. This has been 4 queens and a baneling going down here, but the 4 queens is so massive. There are only 4 on the map right now. Because, I mean, Reynor, he loves his mass queen style, going up to 9 queens against a player like MARU, against a player like Clem. And when he's not able to do that, well, he has not nearly the amount of creep spread, not nearly the amount of defensive utility that he otherwise would have. And finally, we do see a Banshee going on down here because there's detection. There are queens. But still, 4 queens for 1 Banshee. MARU has so much map control right now. He has so much ability to move around the map, reduce creep spread, and force Reynor to react to him. That, I mean, look at this. We have mutas on the way now, which really should shut this down. But as we look at resources lost, it is absolutely double here for Reynor over MARU. Very early on, MARU's only lost 4 units. Anyways, looks like Zergling counterattack will attempt to get something done. Actually, we'll get the tank here on the other side of the map, so that's actually really nice damage here for Reynor. I mean, it's just a tank, but it is something. All right, now the bio here posturing in on the 4th base with enough banelings. Baneling speed is done in 5 seconds. That's not going to be... Oh, he's going to get the mutas. That 1 muta will not go down. Just barely not enough Marines, and I guess the stim was just barely a little bit too slow. Man, getting any of these mutas early on before they start finding damage is just such a coup here for MARU in this game 1. And well, 1-1 is rather late here for Reynor. That's his bias for losing so many queens, losing the baneling, but really losing that many queens early on because normally you're like, okay, 1-1 starts right around the time that 1-1 is halfway done for the Terran, is kind of that standard. 1-1 started when 1-1 finished for MARU, so he's going to have just such a massive time here. But Reynor says, look, I don't care about your upgrades if I'm never fighting your army straight up. So we will have a Zergling counterattack running on into the natural once again here. And it is just getting a lot more damage than it did in game number 1. All of the walls are up. All of the rally is going on down. Although, there we go. So with the tank sieged up, this should be a little bit better here. Zerglings are going to run on in, trying to get on top of this tank. They will do so. So the tank's only going to be able to do so much in the entire army of MARU that was looking to push on into the 4th base, looking to get some sort of damage here. It is gone. It is dead. Well, it's not dead, but it is gone here. Back to MARU's side of the map. And Reynor, he's on 76 workers here. His +1/+1 is just about halfway done. And look at this, Reynor in the chaos and all the madness has barely started his 2-2. It is only +1 armor on the way, barely just getting started. And +1 attack, not even underway. So MARU has forgotten that. And that's going to mean this timing that Reynor would have to deal with, where it's like 2-2 versus 1-1 for a long period of time. Well, it's just not going to be there anymore. And Reynor, again, he's rich. He's on 82 workers. He's got his 5th base on the way. +1 air attack on the way as well. And we should start to see, well, an infestation pit go down right around the time that Reynor is maxed. Those 2 banelings are going to look to roll on in here. And, well, 1 baneling should go down before me. Oh, no, it won't. 2 banelings roll on in. 11 workers in the natural. MARU's just not on top of things. He is not closing that wall when he needs to, because he had early warning on that one. He knew that banelings were rolling on in. His army, his bio did interact with it. But apparently are focused on other parts of the map here. So 11 workers have died. REYNOR up to 96 now. And this is just what sets REYNOR apart compared to almost any other Zerg. He just finds these opportunities to sneak in 2, 3, 4, 5 workers at a time. And suddenly you're like, he's at 93 workers. His income is massively ahead of a 4-base Terran, well, of a 3-base Terran with mules. And he's getting into those upgrades, right? His +2 armor is underway. And MARU has just now realized that, oh crap, I forgot +1 attack or +2 attack. So REYNOR's actually going to have some significant upgrade parity. He will be down 1 upgrade, but it's not the attack upgrade, which is what really matters here. But the meters, they will fly on in, they will go down. So no damage there, but that just means, well, REYNOR can run on into the bio here. Banelings come crashing on into everything. Thor is trying to be a bulwark, but Zerglings will get on top of that here. Banelings, they're going to run into the army in the natural, but at this point, MARU has too much in his bases. He will force REYNOR back. But in the meantime, 22 workers have died here as the mutas and the banelings extract the iron price. And well, now they're going to flee on out once again. 95 workers to 46. REYNOR literally doubling the worker count of MARU. And in a game like this, right, as we look at things, as we try to figure out what's more valuable, is it a more powerful army? Is it a more powerful economy? I think REYNOR is rapidly, and this is what he tries to do in most games. Yes, he has good micro. Yes, he has great game sense, but he's trying to turn this into a game where might makes right, where having more is better than having better. As again, you know, army supplies are somewhat equal. MARU's at 150 supply. REYNOR just about maxed out. But REYNOR is rapidly building that bank. He will be able to just start rolling Lings and Banes on into the army of MARU at a rate that MARU just cannot replenish. And at that point, well, things just start to go on down here. But the Widowmines are actually in a really nice position. A lot of these banelings will go down here. MARU stemming on both sides. And REYNOR really cannot find an opening with his ground army. But that's okay, because the mutas, they're going to find an opening here in the air. 19 mutas on the field, now down to 18 as the Zerglings do find things. But that is just an opportunity here for Zerglings, banelings to run on in. Unsuccessfully, though. The banelings will get some fantastic connections. So many Zerglings get roasted here by the Hellbats. And that does mean that MARU will be able to hold on the right-hand side. But meanwhile, the mutas, once again, are finding significant damage. At the very least, they are distracting MARU. But once again, MARU is doing a very good job of... No, that split against the Baneling, or excuse me, the Widowmine. Absolutely fantastic. But MARU is doing such a good job here of not dying. Right? He's not winning yet, but he's not dying. And now he has 2-2. Now he does have an upgrade lead. Well, for a moment here, the upgrades do equalize, but he does now have 3-3 on the way. And that means that eventually there's going to be a 3-3 versus 2-2 timing. It's not going to be as significant as otherwise would be, because REYNOR's hive is just about done. He will be able to get 3-3 underway rather soon. But having that upgrade advantage, this is the traditional tipping point where the Terran goes from trying to be a little bit aggressive, being a little bit defensive, to the full-on, I have a better army, I'm just going to outtrade you in the extreme. But one thing that REYNOR does better than almost any other Terran player or Zerg player in the world is he is so good at getting into hive, minimizing that 3-3 versus 2-2 timings. He's looking to get an engagement here. Baneling Zergling is going to roll on in. The Widowmine shots are going to be decent, and REYNOR will be forced to back on up here as this army is just absolutely shredded. But the mutas, they're just going to perch on top of all of these almost finished missile turrets. One will complete, but the other two will not here. 10 workers go down. The fourth base heavily under fire, and the bio is just not really here yet. And, well, now they will arrive. +2 attack here for the mutas, not yet done. And with the Widowmines, excuse me, with the medevacs here, the Thors will stay alive, but 13 war workers do go down. And once again, it's a matter of economy. REYNOR mining 3,000 more resources a minute compared to his opponent. Look at those banelings are going to burrow right there. But yeah, I was going to say, MARU, he should see that. Banelings burrow right in front of MARU's army. And I gotta wonder if that's a bit of a mistake. Because now MARU is aware that burrow is done. He is aware that REYNOR is attempting to play with burrowed banelings, which means he's going to be scanning in front of his army maybe a little bit more religiously, even when there is no creep. Which is, of course, kind of being a rare resource at this point. His creep has found its way over halfway across the map at this point, and now I like this. REYNOR, he's going to run in with both of his mutas and his Lings and his Banes, trying to just get that combined arms attack that's going to be so effective. Because again, once the Marines go down, once the Thors go down, Well, the meters are absolutely uncontested here. Bailey's going to roll on in. Is that planetary going to survive? It will. Only 7 workers do go down. A little bit of damage in the third base as well. But again, nothing too significant. And MARU's supply continues to grow. It continues to increase here. And if he's able to max out here on 3-3 with just that much more bio, with that much more army, it's going to be very difficult indeed for REYNOR to really take the fight. But look, he finds 13 more workers. He finds the Thor. He finds the Liberator. And his meters are just going to continue bouncing around the map, knocking off as many Marines, whatever rallies he can find, preventing MARU from really breaking significantly above that 150 supply mark that is so powerful that Terrans really love to abuse in any matchup, right? Whether it's mech, whether it's bio, the Terran army is so much scarier above 150 supply than they are below it. That being said, now we do finally have MARU. He's on his way on the other side of the map. The first time this game, or at least the first time in the last 10 minutes, he's found his way onto creep. He's found his way onto a base of REYNOR and is starting to do damage to it. But now the ultras are going to run on in. They have 3-3. They have kindness plating as well, so they are chonky boys indeed. Bailey's running on into the backlines here. Ultras taking a damn good fight. REYNOR, he takes game number 1. All right, now game number 2. And spawning in the upper right, taking a masterclass ZVT in game number 1. He is from Clash Esports, REYNOR. And his opponent spawning the bottom left. In the blue, he is, of course, from Korea, MARU. And if game number 1 was on a Zerg map, well, game 2 is on a Terran favorite map here. It's not Beckett. We'll get to that one later, hopefully. Well, yeah, hopefully, because I want a 7-game series. But, this, before Beckett was the thing, before the 28-second rest distance and like 6 total bases per side was the thing, this was the map that Zergs did fear. Well, outside of Submarine. In fact, REYNOR, when he goes, when he was getting interviewed after Get Evidence, he's like, "Oh, what maps do you hate the most?" Submarine. So, if Juggernaut was the Zerg map, this is absolutely a Terran map here. This is a map that parade pushes can really find some value. That tank pushes can really find some value. And now we're just going to have to see whether MARU leans into that, what he chooses to do to make sure that he's able to make something happen with this. Because, he doesn't want to go down 2-0. No one does. And I don't. Well, I'm fine with even MARU going down 3-0 so long as he can come back and take another 3 games. I just want a game 7. This is, unfortunately, we have never really gotten Cyril versus MARU at the height of their respective powers. But MARU here, as good as he has looked over the last several months, although unfortunately he did not win GSL Season 1. I want that G5L to finally be claimed, but still making the finals here of the GSL Season 1, making the finals here of this, looking as damn good as he has in Katowice. MARU seems to be back on form now that his wrists have been fixed to some extent. His shoulders have been, or his back has been fixed to some extent. And REYNOR, well, the kid is the successor in many ways to the European dominance of Cyril. As Cyril falls off, REYNOR ascends to new heights. So while we have never gotten Cyril versus MARU at the height of their powers, it feels like REYNOR versus MARU is the pure successor to that. Is really the pure embodiment of that really hotly anticipated matchup that again has been denied to us for so many years. I guess kind of REYNOR Clem is a similar way, but it doesn't have that Europe versus Europe versus Korea storyline, West versus Korea storyline that MARU versus REYNOR does have. So I want game 7. Game 1 was fantastic, and I fully anticipate 6 more games of similar quality. As MARU, he's just a little bit sloppy in the early game and also in the mid game. I mean, those run bys got so much. The 2 Banelings rolling on into the natural and killing 11 workers past a couple of Marines that were shooting them down. Well, that was a bit sloppier. And REYNOR, I love the confidence in game number 2. He kind of understands, or I don't know if this is understanding or just theory, but he believes that so long as he is able to scout what his opponent is doing, he will be fine. Look at this, though. We got something that we don't really see all that often. This is a TY build. This is something that Dream likes to do, but really not something that MARU likes to do, where this will be Hellbat Concussive Shell Marauders. Running across the map here, this is like a 5 minute 30 timing, where you got Hellbats, you got Marauders, and of course the Marauders, their job, they live in the medevac, they get dropped on top of Queens, and they slow them down. They're not really trying to do damage. Really what they're trying to do... Oh, this is going to get scouted, actually. Nice job there from REYNOR, sending the secondary Overlord on into the natural. And there we go, the immediate response. Queen's on the way, of course. We always had Queens on the way. But we have a Spine underway in the natural. We will see the Queens group up rather quickly. And Zerglings on the way as well. Because, of course, the goal here of these Marauders is not necessarily to kill anything. They don't do a lot of DPS. Against Spines, maybe, but not against Queens. Their goal is to tag the Queens, is to kill them, or is to slow them down so the Hellbats can get on top of them and kill them off. And look at this. Oh, the Hellions are going to find a bunch of Zerglings here before anything really happens. So that's not a really nice move there from MARU. That just means that there is a lot less on the field defensively here for REYNOR, as he's only on 38 workers. He did commit early on to get those Zerglings to try to make a counterattack happen in exchange for, again, not having maybe as much as he would like to from an economic perspective. But now we will have the Marauders going on in. One Queen getting tagged immediately, but the Hellbats, they are still slow. So we'll take a minute to get on in there. Zerglings looking for the counterattack, but the Hellions sitting at home. We'll make things happen here. We'll make things survive for the moment, as we do have 3 Marauders. What is that? 7 Hellbats, but no damage. Okay, so yeah, actually, okay, the army's going to run on back here. We're going to have a quad medevac drop going into the main base. Of course, it is, what? It is 2 Hellions that kill off workers, so a little bit of a, no, sorry, 3 Hellions that kill off workers. So you got a little bit of a bonus there. But again, MARU just not finding the damage that he is looking for. And on the one hand, I like what his decision is here. He's, look, I'm not going to commit here. I'm not going to lose my entire army. I'm not going to lose my shirt in the approach of trying to take the shirt off of REYNOR's back. And that's valid. That's fair. But it also means that he has 0 potential for damage. And on, you know, there's like a 5, 10, maybe even a 20% chance that he gets something done with the with that army. But now, again, not using it, what means he's not going to get anything. Is interestingly enough here, we have +1 in Roach Warren on the way, so we're gonna have a big Roach Spell here from REYNOR, kind of like what we saw Rogue do against MARU in the GSL. So 1-1 on underway, Roach Warren on the way here. As REYNOR's on 60 workers, he's probably gonna go up to just about 66 as he gets that 4th base going. But yeah, again, a much lower worker count than what we saw in game number 1. Because you want a lot of roaches, you want to max out really, really quickly. And this is actually such a dangerous position here for MARU. Now, granted, he's not moved out with tanks, which is a good... Actually, I don't believe he has any. Oh, he's got 1 tank. But this is an incredibly dangerous position here for MARU to be in. Because as he moves out here, as he tries to knock something down, as the Queen Concave is just making that life incredibly difficult here for him to really get anything done, especially as he loses that medevac. He has not seen any roaches. REYNOR has done such a good job of defending with Queen Roach. It means, or Queen Link, it means that there have been no roaches visible on the field, which means that the first time that MARU sees this is when his army is moving out on the map, as we see right now. He's going to set up a push position here outside of the 4th base, trying to delay that from MARU, or excuse me, from REYNOR. But all that does mean is this army is going to get swept aside by a bunch of, well, at this point, 0-0 speed roaches, soon to be 1-1 speed roaches. And at that point, immediately REYNOR is going to move out on the map here with about 150, 160, 170 supply. And MARU can hold this, or he absolutely can hold this if he has the proper army for it, if he is in the proper position. But as so often happens here with this build, nice job with the Queens. They're going to target down to medevac, almost down to death. As so often happens here. Oh, look at this. So, oh, this is pretty cool. REYNOR's not even opting to go and try to share that one off. He's just going to go immediately on into the mineral line here. Speed Roach is getting on top of things. They do have 1-1 as well, so things are starting to go down. The Queens are walking, but that means they're going to be woefully underrepresented here. They're just going to get all taken down. And we got a big concave coming on, and Queens on one side, Roaches on the other, as MARU's desperately trying to bring this army together. But that just means the Roaches, Ravagers, they're going to find their way onto the natural. At stake, we'll siege on up onto the high ground, but the Ravagers are here. They should be able to take it just down, as Friendly Fire is knocking down SCVs as well. REYNOR, he's at 160 supply. MARU, he's only at 110, as the Roaches are going to get on top of this army, get on top of this tank. and that is going to be difficult indeed, but the tanks are getting some really good shots off. The tank will go down, but so will most of these roaches, and 22 workers have died. Is that enough, though? REYNOR only has a 15 army supply lead, even as he is 2-2 underway. He's lost, well, actually, he's not lost most of his queens, as they do run on backwards. But it's not this big sledgehammer of a roach force. REYNOR did not really bring it all together as well as he would like. MARU did such a good job of sectioning it off. Forcing part of REYNOR's army to fight on the right-hand side as the main army goes on through. But now, here is part 2. The queens are walking. We have 9 of them on the field. So many transfuses. And that is a damn lot of roaches here. 176 army supply to 176 supply to 116. Now it's time for the roaches to move on in. How many tanks do we have? We have 3 tanks here on the field. Only 1 is sieged up noticeably at the moment. Yeah, we got liberators as well. But look at this. So MARU here, he's going to try to hold the third base. He says, look, I don't got a shot in this game if I don't hold the third. And honestly, I kind of expect to see REYNOR just kind of run on into the natural. We're going to see 1 tank go down here. Biles hitting that one. Actually, Biles are just going to hit the second tank here. Roaches are taking this fight. It's only the tank at the high ground. That means that MARU has some semblance of a hope of a version of this game. So it looks like in real life, the game was recovered from replay. But now MARU has lost his third base once again. REYNOR has broken it. The queens are still here. They still have spent not a lot of their energy. And yes, we do see the army from MARU. It's now running onto the other side of the map here, trying to cut off reinforcements, trying to do what it can. But 15 workers have still gone down. The roaches here are getting a full-on surround. And yes, they are not taking the best fight here because this is bio, it is stemmed bio, and there's enough medevacs to keep things alive. But it does not matter here because, well, we got the big army from REYNOR on the other side of the map here, just about ready to max out here. As MARU, he is only on just about 100 supply, down 40 army supply, and yes, he's getting damage done. This much is true, and in fact, REYNOR is being forced back here, being forced home. But I'm not convinced it will be enough, although it looks like REYNOR, I'm pretty sure, canceled his 2-2 and restarted it. Because I think he did have 2-2 going a little bit earlier than the build time that they have underway at the moment. I think MARU has started, or excuse me, REYNOR has started to realize that he will not really be able to end this game as much as he would like this early on, right? Well, you know what? He honestly, he could very easily bust down the front door right now, although actually with this quad drop going on, and he will be forced to send a decent amount of his army home. It's only 2 liberators, 1 tank. All right, the Biles will be able to knock those down rather quickly. But now he's just saying, look, I don't really want to deal with that. Just gonna send my army home. I'm gonna get my hive. I'm just going to keep you on 2 bases for forever and a day, and that is going to be that. But I love what MARU is doing here. He's like, okay, well, I have an upgrade lead. I have 2-2 versus 1, which means your army doesn't fight nearly as well as otherwise would like to. But I know you scattered my army on the right, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna attack on in the left side here as well, and I'm gonna take your third base down. I'm gonna punch back here, and MARU, this may buy him the time that he needs, right? REYNOR is still maxed out, still pretty close. MARU is rapidly getting closer and closer and closer to that 150 total supply mark that makes, really, that invalidates the roach tech for the most part here. And considering this is only hive, I assume for vipers we do not see any hydrogen on the way, we do not see any opportunity for lurkers. It doesn't feel like REYNOR is taking the proper transition out of this. Yes, he's doing a really good job here preventing MARU from ever mining from the third base, but he's lost a base of his own. Although, nice job there. Wow, 1 tank will get targeted on down. But still, we do have 2 remaining. And still, it is an upgrade lead. There we go. Vipers on the way here, but I really want to see a Hydroden. I really want to see a Lurker Den come down for REYNOR, because I think that's really what's going to make the difference. Just getting 3-3 for roaches doesn't really matter. Because, again, if we look at the trades, REYNOR hasn't been trading efficiently, right? He's down 3,000 resources, and that's a lot of supply when you consider this as Roach Ravager, 2 or 3 supply a pop. And now we got, well, it looked like the Roach Army is trying to take an engagement, as I assumed REYNOR was going for a flank, but no. He's just sending a bunch of roaches onto the other side of the map and says, okay, once again, I don't know if I can fight this army, but I can counterattack. I can do things. I can drop vials on top of your army, back on up here, knock down liberators, knock down tanks as the situation warrants. Meanwhile, roaches are going to move on into your natural and your third base and just start knocking down your economy once again, as we do see right here. Wow, all the SCVs, they're trying to get something here, but the wall is helping them or it's hindering them as much as it is helping MARU. So MARU here, he's going to lose the last of his economy pretty much, and now it's just going to be a game where MARU has to stim on in, kill off as much as he can. That's going to be just about it. So we're going to see a big abduct here. One tank will go on down. Now it's only one tank remains. And yes, REYNOR does lose his 4th base, or I guess now it's his 3rd base. So he is only mining off of 2 bases, but so is MARU. And REYNOR's got 68 workers. MARU only has 25. He cannot even drop mules from that 3rd base, as it has been forced to lift. And now MARU is going to run on back here. And we still have our 3rd base. It has been remade for REYNOR. The 4th base just about done as well. And now we have a bunch of Vipers on the way. It's going to make that army so much more powerful. As now we got a big 360 surround coming on in. Now MARU did hit his side. He did hit the South army first. So that means he was able to stim his way through it, survive that. But now we got a Hydrogen on the way. We got +3 ranged attack just about done. REYNOR's army continues to grow. It continues to develop in its complexity, even as MARU's stays just about where it is. And now the 3rd base is starting to burn on down. And MARU really doesn't have that much money to repair this. Not really. I mean, he will, and he will be able to, but that is going to cut into his production rather significantly. So the Hydra Den is done. We should see the Lurker Den go down any second now. And REYNOR has once again built himself the type of supply lead that he needs to finish off this game. He's at 50 army supply. And that is where he can finally start to take this engagement, especially now that he does have equal upgrade. The parasitic bomb is going to be fantastic. So many of these medevacs are getting so damn low. The tanks go down. GG REYNOR. He takes the 2nd game, putting himself up 2-0 in this series. And now we get into Lightshade here. REYNOR, he's got 2 maps to his name, and he took perhaps the 2nd most Terran favored map in the pool. Lightshade, it's a little bit more Zerg favored, even as it is still small. So things are maybe getting a little bit scary for MARU at this point. The game's not over. The series is not over. And MARU definitely has that clutch factor. But losing Oxide isn't exactly the best. But we'll talk about that more in a second, as, again, we're in game 3 here. It is Oxide. Sorry, it is Lightshade, map 3. And spawning the upper left in the red, the reigning world champion. He is REYNOR. And his opponent spawning the bottom right in the blue. From Korea and Team Envy, he is MARU. All right, game 1, we saw a fantastic late game Ling Bane Muta, eventually into Ultra's traditional Biomine versus Ling Bane Muta style. And MARU just took a little bit too much damage from those counterattacks. Game 2, we saw Roach Ravager versus Bio, and MARU once again was kind of caught out by the initial Roach Ravager attack. REYNOR explicitly skipped the army, ran on into the natural, knocked down 20 workers, and from there it was kind of an uphill slog. And now we're in game 3. What does MARU do? What does REYNOR do as they try to figure things out, move on into this series? MARU, again, the series is not over, even as he is down 2-0. He absolutely can come back from that. But losing Oxide, maybe not the best situation. And maybe this is where we're going to see MARU maybe mix it up a little bit. Although, granted, game 2, he attempted that, right? We did see the Hellbat Marauder timing that just really didn't work there, because REYNOR, he went for Overlord speed. He's like, yeah, it's a short map. I know you can maybe hit me with some sort of shenanigan. I'm just not going to let you. I'm going to put 2 Overlords in your main base at 415 and 435. And they're going to move in fast. You will not be able to stop them. And I'm going to see exactly what you are doing. I'm going to see those Marauders on the way. I'm going to see the Armory on the way. And that's going to be just about that. So it does look like we will have a tech-heavy opening here for MARU in game number 3. It will be a 1-1-1 as we do see that second gas get taken out. And now the question is this... most likely, of course, this will be for Hellion Banshee once again, as he did find significant value with his Hellion Banshee in game number 1. It did not end up making him win, right? Of course, REYNOR, with his counterattacks, with his engagements, with his ability to just expand so damn fast, did eventually take the day. But that didn't mean the early game was not valuable, as we do, of course. There we go. Tech Lab underway here, right next to the starport, so it does look like it will be a Banshee Tech once again. Now, what I'm also wondering is whether we might see MARU just drop down an armory on top of things and go for like a Hellbat Banshee type of timing. It's unlikely. We haven't really seen any sort of Hellbat timing be useful by any Terran player rather recently, unless it's TY, who was kind of hitting with this less Hellbat timing, where he would go on in and there we go. Overlord speed does finish on up, and these Overlords are able to see everything that happens on in the main base. But we did see TY do against Rogue in a recent Alpha X best of 9, and really it was a very fast best of 9. But he was hitting with this Hellbat timing. It actually hit with just about four or 5 Hellbats, and hit it 4 minutes. It was rather scary, but the Hellions are just going to dive on in. But REYNOR caught one thing here, and MARU just with a fantastic punish on top onto this Overlord speed tech, right? Because when you get Overlord speed, that's your first under gas. Your Zergling speed finishes at 430 instead of 330, which means these Hellions can run on in, get 6 workers for themselves. And that is absolutely value here. Nice job there from MARU, recognizing the punish and making it happen this time, well, which he did not really do in game number 2. On the flip side, though, it does appear that REYNOR will be able to deal with the aggressive side of this a little bit easier, or the Banshee side of this, than he did in game number 1. As the Banshee doesn't really find any damage. Yes, it did force spores. Yes, it did force queens to be in proper positioning, but that's not really all that much. You kind of want those spores anyways. It helps you deal with drops later on, Liberator, Harass, whatever. Just kind of a standard expenditure that we do see that REYNOR has, of course, gone for because he needs it in this game. Now we have the lair just about done. We have Baneling Nest about halfway done here, so you should see Baneling speed getting started immediately. And how much gas do we have? Not a lot, so I don't think this is going to be fast mutas. I think this is just, yeah, there we go. As we do see Evo Chambers on the way. I think this is just going to be a more standard, just pure Ling Bane on into Lurker style. Game number 3, and I love that we're seeing REYNOR just play 3 so different styles. Oh, never mind. Spire is underway now. Okay. Well, there goes my train of thought, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it is still REYNOR is still showing us different styles in different games, and you know, some of it is map dependent, of course. Juggernaut, Lightshade have some decent amount of dead airspace, so it does make sense to go for mutas here on these maps, and on Oxide, just because of how the map works and because of how the meta goes with the pushes that you see going into that Roach tech, it makes a lot of sense. What I do wonder, though, is, whoa, Banelings drop on in. That is not something we see all that often. We're going to have to see whether it catches MARU off guard or not. It certainly catches me off guard. It's not something we see all that often. There we go. Baneling drops are going to come on in. And it's going from a weird angle, too. So MARU's going to have a little bit of a less opportunity here to really avoid things. The Banelings drops coming on in. MARU, he is not paying attention here. So 3 workers go down. Honestly, that could have been a lot more, but there we go. 11 workers die for the cost of 4 slow Banelings that have 0-0. So nice job there from REYNOR cutting into MARU's economy once again. But you also got to remember, REYNOR here, he's sitting on a fairly large bank, 900, 700, and we don't have 1-1 started. So game 1, REYNOR did win, and his 1-1 started just around the time that his opponent's 1-1 finished. In this game, as we do have Zerglings looking to run on in, Baneling speed is now done, but his 1-1 has not even been started here. This is just going to be such a massive timing window for MARU, and granted, REYNOR is not going to have to worry about maybe quite as big of a window because the armory is a little bit late. But REYNOR, he's going to lose his 4th base. And the army he has, well, it's not going to be able to do much. He didn't really get that much in a counterattack either. And this is looking like MARU's best game to date. He's going to be able to slap down that 4th base rather easily. And as long as he's able to defend this run by, which I believe he should here, with the army, with the tank, with the wall, he should be in a very good situation as these Banelings look to run on in. The wall gets busted down, but that's just going to be just about it. Yes, it's a supply block. And oh, Bailey's going to run on in to the army just off creep. But the trades, my friends, the trades here, 2k resources at 8 minutes into this game. It looks like a Zergling drop's finding value. Nice job there from REYNOR. But again, it's all about relative worth here. 6 workers go down, REYNOR loses a base. 6 more workers go down, REYNOR loses a lot of bailing. So yes, it is something. It is damage here, but I'm not convinced that REYNOR is finding the same amount of value that his opponent is. We have the full-on push here from MARU coming on in. He's just trying to find their way on into the third base and looking to ping-pong things around. And yes, MARU has kind of delayed his missile turrets, as these are rather late mutas. But now life is getting incredibly scary here for REYNOR, as he is going to lose his third base. Well, what was his fourth base, but is now his third base here. Is going down. And yes, there is a base in the bottom left, but it is not mining here. This is a 2-base Zerg against a 3-base Terran, and MARU is absolutely swarming here on the map. Yes, the mutas are trying to find some sort of value. There are only 4 of them, and the Marines on the high ground will find value as well here. 14 workers have died as Banelings do look to run on in, but the mutas are just about dead. There's only 2 of them. That means they're just about useless. And now MARU's army is on the attack, up 20-odd army supply. 2-2 just about halfway done, as 1-1 for REYNOR does complete, and REYNOR will have his bottom left base found. Not that it's really mining, but it is production at the very least, and that is what is perhaps the scariest part about losing a 4th base here in a TVZ, in a ZVT. You lose the production, you lose the larva that you need to sustain your Ling count, your Baneling count. Now we do have REYNOR looking to get a break here, running on in. The Marines will get a hot pickup, and MARU will be forced on back. The tanks do go down, but now the rally is coming on here. Not nearly as many Banelings as there otherwise were, and the pre-splits are pretty dynamic considering this is off creep. This is not a fight that REYNOR can take. And MARU, well, he is absolutely just waiting here for his 2-2 complete in just about 30 seconds. In the meantime, he's going to clear off some creep. He's going to continue putting pressure on, taking the trades that he can find. But 2-2 is that timing, and now we're just about 20-25 seconds out. And before then, I mean, look at this pre-split here. This is not really a fight that REYNOR can possibly take. This with the tank sieged up behind things. That is where things, again, they do get really scary. So the mutas, they're going to look to dive on and try to cut off some reinforcements maybe. The 1 medevac will not even go on down. Mutas just really struggling to find the damage that they need. And now 2-2 is done. This should be the time here that MARU is looking for to once again shut down the third base of REYNOR, turn him into a 2-base Zerg. And I don't know, again, 2-base Zerg against 3-base Terran. I'm not really sure what you are supposed to do here. And the REYNOR's not even trying. He's going to give that base up immediately. Maybe hope to hold a base later on here. As that run by, we'll get something. It is finding value. I mean, some of the rally does go down here. But the base dies. Looks like REYNOR was trying to expand to the upper right. I believe that died as well. Yes, it has. And now, well, we do have this push on the left-hand side. MARU, he does have decent flips, but Zergling Surround will prevent more of that here. Tanks still going strong. Now 3-3 is on the way. 4th base on the way here for MARU, as the mutas get stemmed on top of on. They have no upgrades. They do not fight well here against 2-2 Bio. And now Thors are just about hitting the field. Marauders are hitting the field. This army is just going from strength to strength, as it is up 30 army supply. And REYNOR, he does have Burrow. Maybe that's his option. Maybe getting some Burrow Banelings and knocking down an entire army for free is going to be what he's going to need to find his way back on into this game. But for the moment, that is going to be a difficult thing to do indeed here. So it looks like with the last engagement of REYNOR coming on in, a counterattack on the other side of the map. Baneling's going to roll on in, but unsuccessfully. And GG, we see MARU taking his first map in this grand finals. And now game number 4, spawning the bottom right. In the red, he is the Italian Stallion for Clash Esports, REYNOR. And his opponent here spotting the bottom left in the blue, finally taking a game in the series in game 3. He is, for Team NV, MARU. And in that game, we really didn't see anything all that special. We did see REYNOR forget to get his 1-1 upgrades for a while, which did make things problematic. But really, it was just MARU cleaning up a little bit of the of the sloppiness that he saw in game 1 and game 2, right? He didn't let big counterattacks get insane damage, although, well, he did lose 11 workers to 4 banelings in that baneling drop. But he didn't lose nearly as much to counterattacks, and he was able to go on in and, well, he was able to get damage done, right? His Hellions diving on in, getting 6 workers early, those pushes knocking bases down. That was the big thing. REYNOR is an incredibly resilient Zerg, but even the most resilient Zergs struggle to come back from losing multiple 4 bases, getting knocked down on into 2 bases at certain points. And it really is just a testament to REYNOR's skill more than anything else, that REYNOR was able to stay alive, was able to not die when he was at 2 bases versus a 3 base Terran, even as it didn't look great, and even as REYNOR was or MARU was just consolidating his position. The fact that REYNOR was able to trade somewhat efficiently and make that game go on is really a testament to his ability. And so it looks like in this game we're not gonna see Hellion Banshee, right? It's only 1 gas in the main base. Now I guess realistically I guess that second gas we saw that second gas go down in 3 odd minutes in the last game. But actually no. Oh yeah, we got the timing right. So this is not going to be Hellion Banshee on into this game. It looks like it's just going to be more standard Hellion Reaper pressure as we do see MARU go into 3cc play. There we go. So third command center underway here for MARU. He does have that second one completing, and on a map like this, it's actually kind of interesting that we're seeing him do that. As well, the Reaper will try to play on that cliff, but with the Queen and the Zerglings, no big issue there. It's kind of interesting that we do see MARU here going for a much greedier option on this map, because this is a map where kind of 2.5 base Marine tank timers can be incredibly powerful. You just kind of bunch up your army in the slow zones, you put tanks there, and you just kind of airdrop into the high ground, and it becomes rather difficult to deal with this. Look at this, the Reaper will be able to knock down a creep trooper, which is so annoying there for the Zerg players. They're trying to establish their control over their side of the map, and just losing creep means that you don't have as much control early on. It's 25 energy from a Queen that is useless. Oh, okay. I like this. This is cool. So I'm like, oh yeah, you know, it's just gonna be a standard game. MARU, he's gonna get a third base. No, we got a fusion core on the way, and I cannot remember the last time I saw battlecruiser opening in this matchup at the highest of levels. I mean, ladder maps don't really matter, but at the highest levels, we really don't see this battlecruiser opening as nearly as much as we saw, you know, early 2020. We're gonna have to see just how well this works out. I don't think against REYNOR of all people it's gonna be all that great, right? Because REYNOR loves to go up to like 7, 8, 9 queens. He does a really good job of making sure he gets those spores, and realistically that means the battlecruiser shouldn't get too much. We're just gonna have to see. Is REYNOR may have misread this just a little bit. We have a spine coming down, and he may think this is Hellbat time. He may kind of be reading that this is what we saw in game 2. Because I believe there was a Viking in game 2, so that may again lead to that read here as the Queens are going to rotate on over here. But again, MARU REYNOR, he's got the fastest fingers in the West. He will not lose too much of this, even when he is out of position. And oh man, I talked about this in game 1. I'm like, man, is MARU playing mech, or on Juggernaut? Is MARU playing mech? Like, this is interesting. But this time it will actually be mech here. 2 more factories underway, as we should start to see Yamato Cannon and get researched as well. And I mean, Blackburn is insanely good for mech, just about as good as Lightshade is, because of how hard it is to find your way onto the other side of the map, because of how choky everything is. So MARU, well, he's certainly going to get REYNOR off guard, because I mean, who the hell plays mech in this day and age? The Hellions, they're just going to get a big surround here on the Queens, but we will see good transfuses. The Queens will not go down here. Only 2 workers have died for the moment. The Hellions not really finding the value they're looking for, but we will see the battlecruiser now find its way on into the main base. The Hellions have repositioned all of the, or the majority of the Queens, but there's still 3 Queens here, and 2 spores. I don't know what REYNOR saw, but he has absolutely reacted to it with aplomb here. He has everything that he needs with the 2 spores and the 3 Queens. The battlecruiser is just not getting any damage here in this game. Well done there from REYNOR. But of course, it's not over yet. The pressure has only just begun. Yamato cannon now underway. Second battle cruiser getting started. Of course, these take forever and a day to build. And MARU, he's getting his gas on his 3rd base. He is really leaning on into this 3-base mech setup that we don't see all that often in this matchup. At all, because traditionally mech against Zerg is the most standard mech, right? Yeah, we see the likes of TY and Special occasionally, and MARU, I guess, occasionally messing around with mech versus Protoss, but that is the exception, certainly not the rule. Now, REYNOR should have a really good idea of what's happening right now. He's seen the battle cruisers, he's seen the Hellions, he sees the fact that there's eBay going down outside of MARU's 3rd base, which means there's not one researching right now, which means, yeah, this is not bio. And he still has opted to lean on into Mutiling Bane as his opportunity, as his way of dealing with this, which is, again, very interesting. This is something we used to see a lot of. And then the Banelings were nerfed like 2 or 3 times against things that are not light units. So whether this works out now, that's going to be a very significant question here. Is REYNOR, for the moment, he's just developing his economy. He has the gold. He will go on in and take the upper right-hand base. And after that point, he's going to have all but 1 base that he can realistically be expected to take. I mean, the 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock, they exist, but they're going to be fought over this entire game. And now we have 2 mutas getting ready to hit the field here, but MARU is already well prepared for this. We do have 4 missile turrets underway here, and battle cruisers aren't really terrible against mutas. Actually, they're they're rather good against mutas. Corruptor's a different story, of course, but they actually fight mutas rather well, so they will be able to just get on top of this gold base for the time being. Queen's looking to ward things off, but that is just 2 dead Queens immediately. And now battlecruisers, they're going to try to knock a 3rd one down here just with their massed DPS, and before that, well, they're going to run on out. And if things, of course, get really too dicey, well, they have their teleport on out. And REYNOR, he's not even bothering to try to deal with these with the mutas. The mutas are immediately going on to the other side of the map here, finding a lone missile turret that is undefended, and just doing what they can to find some value. There we go. We will see Yamato go down, so muta will die. I think 2 mutas have actually died over the course of things here. And there we go. Teleport back on home. So we do see MARU getting on into that 3rd battle cruiser, I believe. Oh no, he's getting 4. Generally, you stop at 3. That's kind of the cost-efficient amount. After that, it's not really worth it as much. So it's interesting that we see MARU going for more of that. And again, REYNOR, for his part, expand. Eat up all the money on the map, and just hope to maybe not trade efficiently, but trade out economically compared to your opponents. The mutas will really just not take good trades here against the 3 missile turrets, as they are lacking +1 attack, +1 armor, anything that will allow them to fight the missile turrets that much better. And MARU's got this side of the map pretty well buttoned down at this point. All right, he's at 170, 180 supply. It's only 2 tanks, but it's 4 battle cruisers and a little bit of battle mech. It is actually kind of funny how much supply a single battle cruiser takes on up. That's like 32 supply and 4 battle cruisers right there. 24 supply. Something like that. It's a lot of supply. And well, for the rest of this, it looks like MARU's going to round things out with a couple Widow Mines, but a couple Thors, and of course 3/3 Thors. They do more DPS than DTs, so absolutely valid there. As we do have Zerglings mainly looking to roll on in. There is, of course, a planetary here, and with the battle cruisers in the sky, this Lorame is not really going to be all that successful. REYNOR, over the course of this game, has tried to find damage, but it's 7 SCVs that have died versus what is that, 30 workers at this point? Okay, only 25. REYNOR's just not getting the value. He's just not getting the damage that he's looking for, and MARU's getting it in spades. So I don't really know where REYNOR goes from here. He's continuing to lean on into Lingbane Muta, against Thor, Blue Flame Hellion battlecruiser with a couple Cyclones. That doesn't really seem like an army that's going to trade cost effectively against the army that MARU is building. But again, he's REYNOR. If he can set up the perfect surround, well, there's nothing you can't fight with Banelings and a perfect surround here. But okay, actually, you know, getting a Cyclone will be nice with the Cyclones kiting on backwards and the Widow Mines. Well, no big deal there. Now the mutas will find these battlecruisers. And they do have +1 now, so it will mean 4 mutas will go on down, and we will see a teleport out of everything. Well, if they couldn't get one, they won't get anything more here. So just really nice trades here from MARU, doing what he can. And there we go. So a bunch of mutas have died. No battlecruisers have died here. MARU is maxed out. He is building a bank. In fact, his gas bank is even bigger than the Terran players. The Banelings are going to look to roll on in, get these Cyclones maybe. But yeah, Thors do not want to go down to this, or you don't want to sacrifice Banelings on the altar of killing off a bunch of 2/2 Thors. I mean, look how long it's taking even for these Zerglings to kill this off. This is kind of gross, but this is the army that REYNOR has made. He relies on a lot of splash and then Zerglings to clean things up. Now we have more and more mutas on the way. How many mutas do we have? So we're going up to a grand total of like 28 to 30 mutas, and that does mean, yeah, if REYNOR is able to catch this army unawares, if he's able to catch parts of it, he will be able to just instantly delete it. But with the amount of Thors that we have, with the, what is that, 7 Thors on the map here, these mutas will never be able to take a straight up fight, regardless of how good their magic boxing is. And that is just making life more and more difficult here for REYNOR. It's a difficulty that he has opted to play into, as we do have this push coming on in. This base most likely will go on down, but now we have 2/2 Zerglings looking to get us around here. Magic box on top of the Thors, doing what it can. The Thors are just really not dying all that much. So as much as, yes, REYNOR will be able to maybe, actually, you know, he's not even going to be able to clear this army. Well, I was going to say, even if REYNOR cleared the army, the resources lost is going to tell the tale here. And it absolutely will be. 6K from MARU, not just about 7K, 18K. REYNOR has lost 10,000 more resources over the course of this game. And that has been pretty much his entire income advantage over the last several minutes. So at this point, you can see from the banks here and the tech, it's just about even, right? REYNOR has lost about 10,000 more resources, but that's just about what he has mined over the course of the last couple minutes. And now, well, we do see a fight coming on here. Thors are, well, not as many Thors as we would like to see here, but the battle cruisers are just not dying to all these mutas. One will teleport home, and that's going to be just about it. Ling Bane trying to get on top of these Thors. 1 Thor goes down, 2 Thors go down with the Hellbats here with the Blue Flame. MARU is crushing on in. And yes, REYNOR has a bank that he is desperately looking to spend, even as he is running out of gas in the extreme. But what kind of army will REYNOR make? What type of army can he make with the tech that he has that will ever be able to deal with this just terrifying 2/2 mech army that's rolling on in? Well, the mutas will be able to knock down the rest of these Thors with Zerglings as well. So that is a lot of army supply that has just been wiped from the map here. But it doesn't really matter, because now there are 5 cattle bruisers on the field. They're just able to move around here with their +2 armor, so they're not dying, and just knock down base after base, shut down REYNOR's economy to much more manageable levels. And guys, gals, non-binary pals, I'm not here to tell you that the game is over. I'm not here to call it before it is, but it is looking very good indeed for MARU. At 14 minutes into this game, number 3, he has every base on his side of the map. He's sitting here with a bigger bank, a lot more gas here. Meters are going to look to fly on in. Not a single battlecruiser should... Actually, did that battlecruiser die? Okay, 1 battlecruiser has finally died. But it does not even matter. Not really. As MARU here, he's up 20 army supply. He still has a massive economy. He has every base that he could hope for. And once again, he has another army. More Hellbats, more Thors, more battlecruisers. And well, I think this is going to be the last fight from REYNOR. He has no gas. Yeah, he's got about 1,000 minerals. But what we have to consider here is the way a Zerg dies in this matchup against mech is not with, you know, losing out on your bank. Is not with a bang, but it's with a whimper. It's when they run out of gas. It's when they're not able to fight anymore here. Zerglings are looking for this round, but this is 3/3 Thor. They do more DPS than DTs. And now, well, Zerglings surround. It just does not find the damage that MARU is looking for. The mutas, they're trying to get magic boxes, Thors on their lonesome, and they will, but even as they do that, some mutas die as well. This girl base is getting taken on down here. We're going to see Zerglings, Banelings looking for a big surround. Widowmines on top of things, though, making life more difficult. GG, MARU. He'll just take it just like that. So I don't think we're going to see mech here. 2000 atmospheres is not nearly as good for mech as Lightshade or Blackburn is. And on top of that, it does feel like that's kind of a one-off in a series, right? Where you're like, oh yeah, I'm going mech. And Reynor doesn't realize it in time. And then he's like, oh crap, I've leaned into this Needling Bane style because I assume you're going bio. And I guess I'm kind of trapped into a little bit. And Reynor's absolutely won mech games against Needling Bane. You're like, oh, maybe, I don't know, maybe MARU is not as good at mechs, and maybe I can pull this off. And then, well, it doesn't work. But I don't think we would see, I don't think if Reynor knows from the start that it's going to be a mech game, or even scouts it at 4 minutes, that's going to be a mech game, that we see Reynor play the same type of game he did in game number 4. Because, well, I don't think that's the way you play mech anymore. It is just too inefficient. Banelings just don't do anything. And, well, especially when you're down on upgrades, it's so hard to kill the Thors. That is... Okay, so Reynor tried to do something really cool. Didn't work out for him. But this Zergling, or excuse me, this Reaper is being really annoying. Reynor attempted to block it in so he could kill it off with the Zerglings, but he just barely misplaced his Evo Chamber. And so, okay, that's why he did choose to build and cancel an Evo Chamber instead of a Spore. It was to try to capture the Reaper. But he was unfortunately unsuccessful in that endeavor. But now, once again, we do see MARU. He is going for that Hellion Banshee. Some semblance of that. Once again, we do see second gas on the main base here. And, well, 1-1-1 opening. And I guess that, I mean, honestly, that makes a lot of sense. It feels like the most success MARU has had with a non-gimmicky build. And I do think we can call mech a bit of a gimmicky. Oh, okay. Just say I think we can call mech a bit of a gimmicky build because, again, it's not something we see all that often. The most success he had was with Banshee Tech, but we have a fusion core on the way. And this may be mech after all because, honestly, Reynor didn't look like he had a chance in that game on Blackburn. It felt like he was just kind of throwing stuff at a wall, hoping something sticked, and, well, MARU had recently mud-proofed the wall, and nothing stuck. So we're going to have to see whether that is going to be true here, and whether MARU does opt to go for mech again, because going battlecruiser does not mean that you have to go for that style. It means it's common, right? Mech is a common follow-up to battlecruiser tech, but it's not a requirement. We often see, you know, the 1 battlecruiser into bio, 3 battlecruiser into bio, stuff like that. So, of course, what I'm keeping my eye on here is how many gases, or when we get the double gas in the natural. If it's before 5 minutes, like, okay, this is probably going to be mech. But otherwise, well, it's going to be bio here. And of course, well, Reynor has opted to not go for the Roach tech that won him game number 2. Instead, well, we have a lair on the way. We have more and more workers on the way here, and this is just going to be Needling Bane once again. Which, well, okay, so there we go. Second gas is going on down now. It looks like MARU is going for mech in this game once again, which, color me surprised, color me wrong here, because this is not what I expect out of the Korean Terran. Not at all. It's really cool to see, because for the longest time, you know, pros would say, yeah, mech's bad. It's not worth it. But if MARU feels comfortable here to throw it out in 2 maps in the grand finals here against the world champion, the best Zerg in the world, well, maybe we need to rethink things, especially if as he did win game number 1, his first game with that style. Now, what we will have to see, of course, is whether game number 2 works as well as game number 1 did. But oh, there we go. Hellions are going to look to run on in. Battlecruisers teleporting on top of things. Queen's just taking a lot of damage. Now, okay, so the high energy Queen will get taken on down here. Hellions looking to dive on in, and this is absolutely the type of damage that MARU is looking for. 9 workers will go down. Hellions have found a fantastic position. Queens are starting to die as well. And this is just catastrophic here for MARU. Now, the battlecruiser has to be careful because it does not have a teleport out. So I believe only 2 queens will go down. But now we will see the Hellions looking to dive on in. 11 workers have died. I believe 2 queens as well. 3 queens, excuse me. And the Hellions, for the most part, they are still alive. Now we have Yamato on the way. More and more Hellions on the way. Second battlecruiser. And the third base is done. It's moving on into position. It's not quite as an aggressively economic position as we did see MARU in game number 2, where he did go 3 CC into battlecruiser. This time, It's a much more aggressive, aggressively played option, right? He did go 1-1-1 into Fusion Core and then finally get that third base. And interestingly enough, we do see REYNOR once again leaning into that Spire, getting double Evo. We don't see a Roach Warren on the way. So REYNOR, it appears that he feels that the best way to play against this style of mech that MARU wants to do is with Mutiling Bane. It did not work in game 1, and this in game 2, it feels like he took even more damage. So we're just going to have to see how successful this is going to be. Can REYNOR find that slim timing that allows Mutiling Bane to work against mech, or will he once again be just slapped aside, and MARU, will he be one step closer to that reverse all kill that he is so desperately looking for? Now, the Hellions are going to look to dive on in and really won't be all that successful. We are starting to see some Queens take some significant damage here. And with 2 battlecruisers, well, they can maybe get something. The battlecruisers do need to target things down, though. And there are still 4 Hellions here. They can still knock down so much. He's lining the drones up. They're going to get 12 as they all go down. So many workers go down here. Queens as well. Battlecruisers will, of course, be forced to back on up because one of them is too low to fight. But, of course, it does have teleport out if it does need that. 14 workers have died. REYNOR taking so much damage over the course of this game, and a scan will reveal that yes, there's a force base underway, but it's not even done yet. Battlecruiser will go down. MARU there making a little bit of a mistake, and in games like this, as much damage as REYNOR has gotten, battlecruisers, they consist of such a high percentage of your supply that you really don't want to lose a single one. In this game, I think it's probably fine. REYNOR is taking enough damage to justify it, but that does make things just a little bit closer indeed, and I like this. So this is a much better way to deal with the style that MARU is playing. It is going to be Corruptors on the way. It is 1-1 attack on both sides, so we're going to see Queenling Roach or Roachling Bane, something like that, and that handles this so much easier. So MARU side of things, so more workers will go on down. Nice little bit of a burst there. As five drones, they ran away, but they did not run away far enough. MARU on his side of things, right, we do see this is going to be a primarily battle mech focused style, less battle cruisers. I think that that 5 battle cruiser style is something that MARU really will only be able to get away with once. But well, we do see Cyclone upgrades on the way. We do have Blue Flame on the way as well, and you know, a bunch of Cyclones, they're so damn good against all the Corruptors. So if they get those lock-ons, especially with Mag Field Accelerator, well, life is you just don't have the Corruptors for all that long. And what we also see here is, again, in large part because REYNOR has taken so much damage, he is not growing in supply the way he needs to. He is still at 9 minutes in this game, even on supply with MARU. He's down on army supply a little bit, down on, actually he's down on workers as well. So he's really hoping here that he gets a good fight. He's really hoping that he can sweep on in with maxed out Roach Ravager Ling with a couple Corruptors, sweep the army from the field and reset things for MARU. But considering the fact that MARU breaches that 150 army supply or the 150 supply value first, well, it's going to be difficult indeed. All right, so we have Blue Flame done. 1-1 is done. SC2 is on the way. And Mag Field Accelerator is just about done to add on into things. So the battlecruisers will find these Corruptors, and they will be forced to teleport on back. And there we go. 2 Yamatos, 2 dead Corruptors, and 2 teleports. That also means, that also tells MARU where the Cyclones are, or where the Corruptors are, if he wants to go try to snipe them with some Cyclones. But there we go. Okay, so 4 or 5 Hellions underway at a time. Tanks on the way as well, as MARU is pretty happy with his Cyclone count. And what we may see here is something that's rather common, rather popular, is this kind of this 2-2 max out tank push, or this max out mech push that we occasionally see, as the Blue Flame Hellions will look to run on in. And well, Corruptors can't deal with that. Zerglings can't deal with that one. So a couple more workers will go down. This base is going to get canceled as well. And MARU, well, he's not even doing the 2-2 push. He's doing a 1-1 push, looking to just set up a position ahead of time. Oh, this is interesting. So we will see a couple Widowmine shots here. Knock down Corruptor damage, and especially with the missile turrets here, the Corruptors will not be able to snipe down what they're looking for. And especially with those Yamatos, well, REYNOR, I feel like what we want to see more from him here is his army is not ready yet. We don't have Baneling speed. The Ravagers are not done, and this is just a free dead fourth. And of course, it's not even that. This army is going to be even more powerful. This is going to be even more difficult here for Reynor to take the next fight, because 2-2 is just about done. And 2-2 is that timing where things get really scary indeed. Now we do, of course, have the blue flame Hellbat just to kind of tank for things, soaking for the tanks here so they can get their shots off. And the tanks will go on down. And that does mean that the battle cruisers will be forced on back. But it's the army on the left-hand side that I'm worried about, as we're seeing multi-flank, multi-army mech aggression here, which is not all that common. Now Baneleys are going to look to roll on in, but they're just not going to get their connections whatsoever here. We will see Biles go down, but the tank, it doesn't even die. And now the tanks are starting to get beaten on down here. But again, MARU, there's more where that came from. He's not down below the supply of his opponent, which is the scary thing. He knocked down a base. He took really good trades. And what is he doing in the exchange? He's getting just more and more bases here. All right, so we will see one battle cruiser go on down, as the Yamato into teleport was a little slow. And for the first time in quite a while, Reynor does have a supply lead. It's not a big one, but it is absolutely there. And he's also found time to get on into his hive, get on into +3/+3 attack, get his Vipers underway. And that will allow him to take those next fights that much easier. Mech is really strong until you get Vipers. It's still rather strong, but Vipers are just so good at slowly, efficiently trading the army away. All right, so now we're going to have the tanks siege on up here. Once again, it's only one Cyclone, so not a lot to deal with the Corruptors in the air, but it's not like they really care about them, right? Because Corruptors don't shoot down. So we'll have this siege on up here on top of this base. Cyclone's going to knock down this base as well with mech, but actually only one lock-on. So this may not actually go down here. Cyclones will be forced to run on back, as we do lose the blue flame Hellbats. But this base on the right side will go on down. And Hellions are just going to find another massive bounty, although no MARU, or excuse me, Reynor is going to be in position, so only 5 workers do go down. What I want to see, though, is this. 45 workers to 0 SCVs. 45 drones have died, 0 SCVs have died in this game. And that really says a lot. That just says about just everything now here. Now, what we should point out, though, game one, or the previous game at this time, Reynor was down 10,000 resources. This game, he's down 3. And he has still maintained that, well, actually, MARU has had an income advantage over the majority of this game. That's insane. So I guess it's good that Reynor is trading much more efficiently compared to the last game, because, well, you know, he doesn't have nearly the economic lead that he previously did have. So we all have the Cyclones lock on in here. That base should go on down, but is it worth it here? As the Viper will find so many of these tanks in the backline, the full-on surround here. Reynor, for the first time, is going to take a dominating supply lead. He's up 30 supply. He's going to sweep this entire army from the field, even as he does lose a base, even as he does lose another building base. Well, he takes a pretty damn good fight. Now we do have the battle cruisers in the sky, uncontested for the moment. We'll be able to knock down a lot of these Ravagers. And the supply lead that we were talking about, well, it's not nearly there as much as it was anymore. And once again, supplies are somewhat equal. Even if MARU is down 20 army supply, he's up in workers, which is generally the other way around. If you talk about a ZVT, mech, bio, doesn't matter. Generally, that is the other way around. But now we have 5 tanks on the way here as MARU, once again, he's able to build that army up. One of the truisms of dealing with mech is you just want to out-trade it. You want to be able to go on in and, well, take a good fight and then punish them while they rebuild, because it takes a while for mech army to rebuild. When you got 5 factories, when you're at this late game, when you are on like 6 bases, it's a lot easier there for the Terran player to rebuild efficiently. As now we do have the Cyclones looking to get the good lock-ons. They're only getting a lot of Banelings, and those Baneling connections are going to be damn good. So many Cyclones are going to get damaged. So many Banelings are going to go on, or Cyclones are going to go on down here as they're getting trapped in a corner. No one may put Baby in a corner, but certainly Reynor puts Cyclones in a corner here. As now, well, we do have a mass repair here on top of this planetary, but it may not be enough, as there are so many Corruptors looking to bile it on down. At the very least, this is expensive here for MARU to keep on up. But yeah, Reynor says, look, I won't be able to kill this. There's too good of a repair, and he will be forced to run away, as we do, of course, have more missile turrets on the way to keep MARU's bases alive. And of course, as we talked about supply leads, army supply leads, MARU now, before the last fight, he was down 15, he was down 20. Now he's down 30 army supply. Every time he takes a fight here, every time he tries to make something happen, he gets just a little bit further behind. in terms of his overall supply, in terms of his overall income, overall army supply, and that's only good for Reynor. Now, once again, we do have this push coming out, and MARU, he's only down 10. He's been able to rebuild his supply as well. Total supply is just about equal. And once again, he will be able to knock down a base from Reynor. But one thing Reynor's been doing in this game in particular rather well is just expanding where the Terran is not. But now, well, MARU, he's sitting with multi-prong mech aggression here. He will force a cancel here on the left-hand side. Actually, should be a second cancel. No, okay, the Corruptor's arriving. We'll be able to shoot that one on backwards. But he gets one base, forces a cancel on another. And he may lose this base, but I feel like 2 bases for 1 is a rather valid... oh, so much explosions. that battlecruiser will go down too. I feel like losing one base for 2 is well, that's a rather decent trade here for MARU, as we do have the mech army, or excuse me, the Zerg army looking to go on in, but these stagger tanks are going to say, no, you don't get to do that. And MARU's going to take a rather good trade as he takes the army supply lead. I wouldn't say once again, but for the first time in a while here. Now he's the one up 20 army supplies. We do continue to seesaw here back and forth across the map. 2,000 hemispheres, by far the closest map that we really have seen in this series thus far, as a couple more tanks go down, but the Cyclones are going to get on top of things. We will see a lock on onto this base once again. It will go on down, and well, the Queen will die as well. The last of its energy going on to keeping the base alive, but it will not matter. In fact, that's going to be a whiffed blinding cloud indeed. The tanks firing away, but the Biles will keep things alive, and it looks like the Corruptors, they were able to knock down some building, but it's not going to be enough here. GG, MARU with that last base kill will be able to take the lead in this series. And this is where things get spooky here for Reynor on map number 6. It is Beckett Industries, and his opponent is on match point. So, spot in the bottom left, in the red, the Italian Stallion, he is Reynor. And in the upper right, you're looking at the main base of the Blue Terran from South Korea. GSL runner-up, he is MARU. And look at this. Already things are being a little bit spicier earlier on than what we have seen in the last 5 games. This was a 15 pool here for Reynor, and well, what a prescient build, because MARU, well, he is in fact known for one thing. Well, he's known for a lot of things, but the thing he was most known for when he won 4 GSLs in a row was proxying literally every game, because he could make it work regardless. And well, what better map to do it on than Beckett? Beckett, the shortest map in the pool, means you get your proxy there just a little bit faster. And that is exactly what we see here. But Reynor, he has the build order counter. He has that 15 pool, and as long as he scouts it, which he will with this Overlord, well, at this point, there we go. Actually, I like this. In fact, Reynor, he is not going to show MARU that he has scouted it. So that means that MARU is going to commit to this maybe a little bit harder, and then lose a little bit more. So Zergling's on the way. It looks like we will have a couple drones get pulled just for that initial defense to prevent any bunkers from going on down. But that should be just about it. As again, 4 Zerglings are on the way. Queen is on the way here, and with the drones getting pulled as well. Yeah, this is not going to work, and MARU really should stop. Really, I don't expect to see him commit to this too much. Maybe just a little bit more, just kind of fake the aggression to keep the drones pulled. Maybe see if he can get a couple down. But considering the fact that this was pool first, this really should not work here for the Korean player. Doesn't mean the game's over. Does not. Oh, look at the surround 2 with the drones. Nice job there. I don't think we're going to see a single. Okay, 1 worker will go down. That should just be about it here. So 2 workers here have died for MARU. Reynor, he's going to be able to start mining there from the natural. At this point, MARU may build a couple more Marines that he wants to rally on back home. But this is just never going to work on out. All right, there we go. So the last of the Marines will go on down here. A couple more get made, but it doesn't really matter. That's interesting, though. It looks like MARU will decide to keep building Marines. Maybe kind of going for like a follow-up bit of timing where he just kind of keeps building Marines and pairs them up with Hellions that are going to be soon to be made, and maybe does some aggression off of that. Because I mean, the Zerglings are on the other side of the map. So what this does mean is that if MARU, you know, gets like 6 Marines or something, the Zerglings will not be in position to defend that. It will be only queens. And we have, what do we have? 1 queen in front, 1 queen in the main base. So it's not really going to be that much of defensive utility if the Marines get on top of it. But no, he's just building a bunch that he needs to be able to go on home, and he just wants to be able to pair them up so they don't all go down to a bunch of Zerglings. Or not. Okay, they're gonna. Oh, okay. I like this. So this is just an Overlord scouting or an Overlord sniping mission, looking to catch Reynor off guard, supply block him, make him rather sad, and that's really cool. I really like that. There's nothing more annoying as a Zerg player than losing your early Overlords, having to spend that extra 100 minerals, really functionally 150 minerals because it could be a worker, and have it instead of having it be 3 workers. So really really annoying there for Reynor. It's not going to be the end of the world, but certainly, well, you'd rather it not happen, as we do have the Hellions looking to scout on out here. And we're going to see a Hellbat timing behind this with these Marines that have been made on the other side of the map. This is a really cool adaptation we're seeing here from MARU. I don't know if it's going to work, but it is really cool. Now with the Zerglings, they're going to look for this surround, but they really can't fight because, I mean, the Hellions here are just going to be able to soften them all up, and then the Marines will be able to slap them down. How many Hellions do we have on the field? Okay, so we have 1. So this should be like 4 Hellions here, ready to go on in once the armory is done. And I wonder whether this is a kind of one of the things that MARU just has in the back of his head. He's like, yeah, this is my follow-up. This is how I'll do this. As another Overlord should get taken on down here, or whether this is just straight up, you know, improvisation. I highly doubt it's pure improvisation because, I mean, look, these players, they play hundreds of games a week, maybe not a day, but hundreds of games a week, tens of games a day, and when you play that amount of games, I mean, you kind of have a solid, you kind of have a default response to everything. But look at this, the Zergling counterattack on into the natural is going to get so much done, and this is turning a bit of a aggression, right, to try to equalize things into an all-in situation here. Now, this is a nice way that MARU can really ensure that he gets some damage here as he looks to kite through the speed zones. But now the medevac is dead. The queens are going to run on back through that speed zone, even as a couple of them more do go down. But it's not the economy here that's getting hit here. It's things that are, honestly, that can die, that Reynor is okay trading in exchange. He doesn't want to. He'd rather keep all these queens alive, but he will be totally fine with losing a couple queens here, not taking any sort of economic damage, and killing 10 workers in exchange, putting an already starved Terran back into the Stone Age here in this game 6. And we talked about how short it is and how good of a map it is for Terran. Well, if the Terran proxies and then loses all of their economy and their natural to a run by, the strength of it, the relative strength of those tank pushes, well, it's not relevant anymore. All right, so we will finally see the scouting barracks go down, which is useful, right? You know, you kill off a scouting barracks, and suddenly the opponent cannot scout nearly as well. That seems to make sense. But that just gives room here for the Banshee to go on in, and it really shouldn't get nearly as much. But yeah, we have spores in every mineral line, and a lair as well. So realistically, this Banshee is not going to get a lot done, and that's really not great for MARU because he committed hard to that. He committed hard to the extra Marines off of the 2 racks, to the armory, and now it's 7 minutes. His third base is not done. He's lost a lot of workers. He's down half the amount of workers that his opponent has. And because Reynor here, he's sitting on 3 bases. He's got his 4th base on the way. He's pretty much getting to the point where he's going to be happy with his worker count for the time being. We're going to start to see his supply really jump even further ahead than it already is, and just build this massive army that I don't think we're going to see this game last too much longer, because again, once Reynor is able to just start building away into that army that he wants, when he does have 1-1, which by the way, he has gone for Aspire and 1-1 faster than his opponent's 1-1. So even those traditional timing advantages that a Terran would have are not there. So now Baneling speed is done. Spire, it's closer to being done than not done. Reynor has his 4th base done, just about fully saturated as he is here up on 75 odd workers, maybe going up to 78. Honestly, it's Reynor. We're going to see him go up above 80, but that's going to be once he's beaten the first attack. All right, so now we're starting to see that supply really go up here. It's just army units in the production tab for the moment. And we should start to see probably 8 mutas hit the field here, as Reynor is pretty obviously saving the ass for. There we go, 8 mutas underway, and probably going up to like 10, 12, maybe 14. I'm curious to see whether he really commits to Spire Tech, you know, goes gets +1 air, all that fun stuff, or whether this is just kind of the non-committal. I'm going to get 8, 10, 12 mutas, and I'm going to have some map control. I'm going to put some pressure on the map, but it's not going to be quite to the extent of, oh, I'm going to go into +2 mutas, which we're going to have to see. There we go. Okay, +1 air flyer attack is on the way. We will see those mutas get underway here. 1-1 just about done as well. And it's going to be very difficult indeed for MARU to really get any sort of pressure on the map at this point. The creep is just about halfway, which honestly, this is a really small map. Getting your creep halfway across the map is not all that difficult. But it does mean that there is about one to two siege up positions here of a buffer of creep between Reynor's base and where the creep does start. So that's going to be nice there for Reynor. And again, 2-2 is on the way. MARU's 2-2, it's also delayed. He delayed his 1-1, but it's 2-2. He hasn't even started that. And the only excuse there is, I guess, money. Because, well, he does have an armory. In fact, we see him researching +1 attack, +1 mech attack as well for his tanks. Now, Reynor here. I wonder whether we're going to see him go and really just try to start to sweep on in once he hits about 180, 185, 190 supply. Whether he's just going to wait for MARU to attack on into him. Because if MARU attacks, right, MARU will die. He does not. In fact, he's down 50 odd army supply compared to 30. I guess closer to 40 army supply compared to his opponent. He's down upgrades rather significantly. His army will die unless he takes a really, really good engagement. So we really shouldn't see him getting all that aggressive here on the map. But also, does that mean that Reynor doesn't really look to do much until MARU moves out of the map? Which means we have a MARU that's really not in the best situation, but also not dead, because neither player really wants to take an engagement on unfavorable terms. Or are we going to start to see, again, Reynor just kind of start sweeping on in and spending his bank on killing off his opponent? Now, we do have Lair on the way, or Hive on the way, excuse me. So that does mean that Reynor does have an eye for the next step of the game here. But now it does look like we're starting to see some of that ability, some of that potential for damage start to get built up. As 15 more Banelings on the way, it looks like meters are going to fly on into the natural. And they're going to get some damage here. Not a lot, but certainly something. They're going to force the army into the natural, which, well, that does mean that the army on the left-hand side is going to get swallowed on up here by a bunch of Ling Bane. And yeah, I like this. This is exactly what Reynor has to be doing at this point here. Just starting to ping-pong MARU around, attacking on into the main base, attacking on into the, or natural, attacking on into the third base as well. Baneling Zergling is going to roll on in. Tanks go down on the low ground, and we will see so much of this economy go down. 13 workers go down here. And once again, MARU's economy, it's in the Stone Age. Look at that. All right, Reynor has had a big lead in economy for the majority of this game, but we are going to see that just fall off a cliff here. As Reynor, he's on 90 workers. His opponent is on 55. And there we go. More and more Banelings on the way. More and more mutas on the way. As I guess Reynor's just very interested in having that really powerful, like almost 30 muta flock that can dive on in and kill a base if MARU is not paying attention. It's a super fragile force, right? You've got to be very careful with it, and that is a way that MARU can potentially come back into this game if Reynor doesn't pay enough attention to his mutas. If he sits them over a couple of Thors and they clump up, or Widowmine shots, or runs them over some bios, something like that. But it doesn't matter here. As Banelings come rolling on in, all of the Thors don't even matter. The tanks don't matter. Nothing matters. GG Reynor. He's going to strike back in Game 6. Goes to the Italian. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to Game 7. And now this one is for all the marbles here. MARU's got 3 games. Reynor, he has 3 games as well. Winner is the overall champion of DreamHack Master Summer. Loser, well, they're in second place. And it's kind of funny, actually, as we look at this. This is a matchup between the runners-up of their respective regions. MARU was second place in the GSL. Reynor was second place in Europe. And now the silver champions are going to have their final shot at gold here. Because it is Game 7. It is Romanticide, perhaps the greatest map in the pool for a long standard macro map. And man, It's game 7. It's got all riding on the wire. And in the bottom left, in the red, he is, once again for Clash Esports, the Italian stallion, REYNOR. And his opponent in the upper left, in the blue, the greatest Terran to grace the GSL. He is, for Team NV, MARU. And look at this, REYNOR wasting no time. He says, look, I know what you do, MARU. Not here, not today, not in game 7. I'll give you a proxy when it doesn't matter. I'll give you proxy even maybe when I'm down a map. But game 7 here on Romanticide, on the biggest of maps, I am not going to allow that. And we do see the drone scouts happen immediately, just making sure that really, really difficult to hold proxy location there, where you burrow through the mineral wall and you just proxy 2 racks and you rally through that, making sure that is not what MARU is doing in this game. And I like the call, right? That would not surprise me to see MARU doing that in any way, shape, or form, but he's not doing it. So it is fine there. We do have our first checkpoint passed. We do have an option here, still the opportunity that this game goes 20, it goes 30 minutes. We get the epic last map of an epic season finals. Look at this. Okay, so REYNOR will take the European third here on Romanticide, that linear third that does allow you to spread your creep around the doodad so quickly and really take some of the sails out of the eventual tank push that does tend to happen on this map. But look at this, the Reaper gets 1 worker, almost gets a second. This is by far the best Reaper micro we've seen from MARU in this entire series. And well, you know, it's good to see, because game 3 he lost his Reaper. And really, in all honesty, through the first part of this series, MARU's early game control was not great. I mean, yeah, he got some worker damage done by hitting some surprising timings, but in general, his the damage he gets, or his worker micro, his early game micro, really not all that great. So very happy to see that here. That hopefully that means that MARU is bringing the best version of himself, and REYNOR is also bringing the best version of himself here for this final game. The greatest map, the biggest map, both in terms of stakes and in terms of, well, I believe it is the biggest map currently in the pool. And what is MARU gonna do here? Well, he's gonna do the thing that won him 2 maps rather easily. We have a fusion core on the way, and this time these are slow overlords. We do not see speed overlords here coming on in the, so that does mean that all that MARU will see, or all that REYNOR will see, is that this is a 1-1-1 opener. He will not see the tech lab. He sees that there is a Viking underway that is not made here, as MARU cancels it immediately. REYNOR does not know that this is happening. Now, I guess my last question here as we look at to see how this game is going to go is, does MARU go mech? He has gone for this battlecruiser opening in 2 maps. Every time he has gone mech slightly differently. This is the build that he used to go mech in the second map. But what we're looking at again is gas. Will he take the 2 gases at his natural before 5 minutes? Or is this just bio with a battlecruiser start? Both of these things happen. Both of these things are possible. But we're just going to have to see. Meanwhile, of course, REYNOR here, he's just droning up at his third base, adding that really early bailing nest to make sure that he doesn't have to worry about how bad timing of something like that. But look at this. Those 2 gases are going down. We are seeing 3 total mech games here in this series. And if you had told me at the start of the series that, yeah, MARU, he plays mech, I'm like, oh, sure, I'm sure he plays it on ladder. MARU plays it 3 games in a best of 7 grand finals that goes 7 games. Excuse me, that is unexpected in the extreme, but it is cool here to see MARU really deviating from that heavy bio style that has been so successful for him over the course of his entire career. And REYNOR has not scouted this yet. So we do have the battlecruiser done. It is looking to teleport in on top of the Hellions here, and we don't have an armory, so it's just Hellions and a battlecruiser. It's trying to find the damage that he did in the previous game. The Queens are starting to go on down here. The Workers are going down, but not to the extent that we saw them go down in the previous game. But now the Hellions are going to find their way on in. Reapers as well. 7 Workers go down. A couple Queens die as well, and the Queens are still exceedingly vulnerable here. We do finally have a transfuse, and that Queen should go down even still. The Battlecruiser is going to be able to sit on top of things. Will it be able to get out of range? It will not. MARU making an uncharacteristic mistake here in Game 7. He loses the Battlecruiser. It's only 8 Workers and three Queens, which is damage, yes, but it's not enough to justify the loss of a Battlecruiser in a game like this. So second Battlecruiser is on the way. Yamato is on the way. But REYNOR, he's in a much better position to deal with mech in this game than he was in the previous 2. And it should be noted, by the way, that even as REYNOR did lose that map on 2,000 atmospheres, he was a damn bit closer to that victory than he was in the game on Lightshade, or was it Lightshade? On the other map, mech map that MARU did take a victory on. And it looks like once again REYNOR is going for that style, that version of anti-mech that he did in the previous one, right? We see 1-1 both attack upgrades here. Roaches are underway. We see Aspire just about halfway done. You overbuild Corruptors. You sweep the Battlecruisers from the sky. You try not to take too much damage to this just consistent mineral harass, right? Aliens, they're minerals, and ideally they can get gas as well, right? In terms of denying gas. So always going to be maybe some efficiency there. 5 Workers, totally valid. And you build up your army. You build up your army, and then you take surrounds. You try to knock down the Cyclones. You try to knock down the Bluefin Hellions before they really get into position. Bailings exploding onto them, whatever the case may be. And just really, really prevent the meching Terran from taking their 4th base. But that's probably going to happen regardless. But ideally, you're preventing the Terran from taking their 5th base. That's where things get very difficult. That's where things get a rather dicey there for the Zerg player. That, and of course the 150 supply mark that we do often see. So there you go. Yamato will go on down here, and that doesn't mean 1 Queen is dead, but with the other 2 Queens here and the Spores preventing the Battlecruiser from getting too close, well, it will be forced on back. And I believe this one did no, it did not teleport in. It did run on in, so teleport is still available. And well, it really shouldn't need to though, as it does find dead airspace. Probably just gonna sit here and wait for maybe Corruptors to show on up at that point. Okay, well, teleport home. Or B, wait for the Yamato to recharge, at which point fire it, then maybe go on home here. Now MARU, he does have his 3 bases up. He does have equal supply with his opponent for the time being, as we're seeing more and more Overlords get taken on down. Nice job there from MARU, just really diminishing the map control, diminishing the supply buffer that REYNOR has available to himself. But now Corruptors are on the way, and REYNOR is starting to get that supply lead that he needs to be able to fight this army. Once MARU is equal on supply, when he kind of recaptures that parity, it becomes so much more difficult there for REYNOR to really take any sort of cost-efficient trade. So there we go. 11 Corruptors on the way. Roaches, Lings, 1-1 attack is done here. And we will see some Workers go on down, but Blue Flame is not done, not really even started at this point. So we're not going to see just immediate death from the drone line here of the Zerg player. And this is interesting. So we are on 2 Battlecruisers. We do have a 3rd on the way up. Okay, maybe not quite as interesting. I thought that was the 4th Battlecruiser. But it is interesting that MARU is continuing to work on and build up his air fleet in a game where there are like 15 Corruptors on the map, 11 Corruptors on the map. Now the Corruptors, they're going to look to dive on in here. And realistically, they could have dove on in, right? There are no Cyclones on the map just now. The missile turrets were not done. That was kind of a timing that REYNOR might have been able to just really find himself an advantage. But, well, caution is a thing. You don't ever want to throw Game 7 from a winning position. And REYNOR undoubtedly does feel like he's in a bit of a winning position right now. Yes, he's taking some worker damage, but he's got 96 workers. He has pretty much every base he could want, and he really didn't take too much damage there from the Battlecruiser. Yes, he lost 8 workers in the exchange of 3 Queens, but he killed the Battlecruiser. So at the end of the day, that's just about equal. And instead of really trying to crush on in and kind of hitting this 50-50 of, oh, do I break the mech? Do I not? Well, I don't know. He does have his hive just about done. His 2-2 attack just about done. And he will start to get on into those Vipers that will allow him to abduct tanks, abduct Battlecruisers, abduct Cyclones, whatever he wants. take the fight just a little bit better here. But now we do have the army here from REYNOR. It's going to look to run on in to this third base. The tanks they're not a lot of them, only 3. But the Zerglings, they get on top of that, will die immediately. Baneling's looking to run on in here, get on top of all of these workers, and they will be somewhat, no, actually totally unsuccessful. 7 workers die in anyways though, and a bunch of tanks as well. The bile is actually going to be really nice, but now it is time for MARU to chase. It is time for him to equalize the supply losses that he has taken here. The splits are actually going to be rather nice indeed, and this army, well, normally I'd say it really can't escape, but it can, because there's creep right here. And that does mean that REYNOR is going to be able to take a rather positive trade, even as he's down 2,000 resources. Well, I think the majority of that is from the worker damage that he's taken early on, which he has absolutely recovered from. So now 2-2 is done. We have +2 air attack on the way, and a lot of Banelings. 30 Banelings in production. Well, now it's only 13, but 30 Banelings were being made. And is this just for MARU to, or for REYNOR to just kind of come crashing on into the third base once again? It might be. And now the Corruptors here will be able to sit in the skies and protect this ground army from the battlecruisers that do exist. So we will see the immediate teleports back home. And now the battle mech here on top of this, whatever base it is, on top of this 6th base, it's going to try to find something. But now REYNOR comes crashing on in. The tanks are going to go down. Banelings are, well, they're not really getting the best connections here, as they really just knock down tanks. But the third base is going to get broken here, and there's not a lot that deals with these roaches and ravagers. So 5 SCVs have died, but the big question is, what is happening to the command center? Is it still alive? The answer is yes. Meanwhile, of course, MARU, he found damage of his own. All right, never mind. Now the base is going to go on down here, and this is suddenly it's a little bit more worthwhile here for REYNOR, even as he did lose a base. He's got a lot. He's sitting here on, what is that, 1 2 3 4 5 6 bases on the way. So he was sitting on 6 bases. Now he's got 5, but his opponent, well, his opponent has 4 functionally, as he does have to retake that 5th base. And REYNOR is very interested in just really attacking out into the right-hand side. So MARU, realizing that this is where the previous 2 attacks have come from, he's like, okay, I need to move out here a little bit more. I need to react to this. So a bunch of battle mech will knock down the Zergling harass that is attempted, especially considering, well, Adrenal Glands is not done, and there is +2 armor on top of everything there. So that makes life a little bit more difficult. But now Adrenal is done, which means this army is a lot made of a little bit more paper than it was previously. And oh, look at this. We got Pathogen Glands on the way. This is rather cool indeed. We're going to see some Infestor play here. I'm not exactly sure to what extent, whether it's going to be for fungals with the battle mech, whether it's going to be for neurals, for anything else. But certainly here we do have REYNOR once again. He's going to break the third base of MARU here. We're going to see a lot of tanks go on down, and this actually is starting to get a really problematic point here. 11 workers do go down. The third base once again is forced to float on off, is forced to go on home. Zerglings on into the natural. 18 workers are dying, and yes, this army from MARU is not, well, excuse me, the army from REYNOR is not enough to win the game. I don't believe it. Most of it has gone down. Well, it is problematic indeed. Now we're going to see a bunch of battlecruiser, a bunch of Yamatos on top of the base here, just trying to snipe it down before it is able to escape. One battlecruiser will be able to teleport out. Actually, all of them will be able to teleport out. One will die, but one battlecruiser for a base. Normally, I'd say that's great, but MARU lost a base of his own, and he lost a lot of workers in the exchange. So REYNOR, if we look at risk income over the last 5 minutes, REYNOR has been in a pretty fantastic position over the course of that. And now knocking down bases here. Now, once again, putting MARU onto effectively a 4-base Terran. I guess he does have another planetary that he was able to float on over. Well, things are getting a little bit scary here for the Korean Terran. But he does have enough production. He does have enough economy for the time being to rebuild another army. Put himself back up on 86 army supply. And again, the longer this goes, right? MARU, he's going to get on 3-3. REYNOR, he is not going to have any armor. And granted, he's not going to have any carapace. Granted, you know, when we look at this, overkill means that armor doesn't matter nearly as much, but it does matter a little bit, as the Banelings are going to look to roll on in. The tanks are going to try to, they're actually going to get some really good shots here. Will not go down. And that was not nearly as good of an attack from REYNOR as the previous couple have been. So now we have, of course, we have Vipers on the way. And that looks like it's going to be REYNOR's, one of his few biases towards having that hive is going to be Vipers, and it will, of course, be +3, and a bunch of Adrenal Gland Zerglings. But now, okay, the Hellions will look to dive on in. And Reynor's done a really good job of just splitting off his workers immediately, making sure he doesn't take too much damage to any of these engagements, to any of these run-bys. But 11 workers, that's starting to be something. Anyways, MARU now, he's been able to rebuild his army once again. He's sitting here within 4 army supply of Reynors. He has a scary army. It is 3-3, and he will be able to pretty easily knock down that forward base that Reynor has been mining from for a little bit, that rich Vespine base. And that does knock Reynor down to just about 6 bases, which, hey, that's only 1 base up on the Terran, which that's absolutely playable here for MARU, as we do have Reynor looking to take a fight once again. We probably are just going to see some abducts here because these tanks, there we go, yeah. The tanks are not going to look too siege on up. Just run away home. So a couple tanks will go on down, and there we go. More and more tanks will die here. As at this point, Reynor probably going to back on up though, because he is out of energy on these Vipers. And there we go. So absolutely valuable trades here. Reynor only down 3,000 resources in comparison compared to what we saw earlier on in the game. So he's taken rather cost-efficient trades against a Terran player that a Terran playstyle that really does not expect you to take cost-efficient trades against it. That being said, the battlecruisers on the other side of the map are starting to find some damage, and MARU, now that he has 3-3 on the ground, we are starting to see 3-3 or additional air attack upgrades. And once you get to 3-3 battlecruisers, that things get a little bit problematic indeed. But well, we will see the Yamatos, and then we will see the immediate teleports home. So 5 workers do die, but that is going to be just about it. Battlecruisers, they teleport home, and they will be repaired here. All right, so this base is not going to live. MARU, he's going to try to take that 5th base, but the Corruptors should be able to kill that down, especially now that they have +3 attack. And these Vipers, well, they're just going to get a decent amount of... I don't know why exactly why you're updating battlecruisers when your Corruptors are not there, but maybe MARU or Reynor wasn't quite paying attention. But now we have the break coming on in. Tank's not really dying, though. And that does mean that Reynor will be forced on back here for the time being, but the base is dead. There we go. Reynor or MARU will not be able to take that outlying base. And as this game goes on, I mean, let's take a look at how much money he has left. He's still got decent money in this base because it's been broken for so long. But this one, well, starting to mine out just a little bit. So we do have MARU here moving out on the left and right hand side. He will lose these Cyclones. They will get trapped on in here, but the base will go on down. This is where it gets a little bit more scary though, because yeah, those Cyclones, you kind of expect to lose them. But the Zerglings get on top of these Cyclones. No, that looks like the Hellbats are going to be just enough. The 3-3 Hellbats will be able to keep things alive. And now MARU, he's getting 2 bases for the price of not a base. Not really. I mean, yeah, he lost a base earlier on, but not in the annals of this exchange. And now, well, Reynor, that income advantage, it's not nearly as much there anymore. And yes, that is probably because MARU just dropped a lot of mules, but even still, not the best. But now we do have Reynor. He's going to move on in here. But the Corruptors, the Vipers, they're not there. This is just a ground army against ground army, and that's never going to favor the Zerg player. But now the Vipers are here. Tanks are starting to go on down. Corruptors dominating the sky, and all that Reynor really cares about, I think, is just shoving the army away from that bottom left-hand base. But he's like, look, if I'm going to win this fight, as I am, maybe this is all I need here. Maybe this is the position where I not only break the base, this is where I break the Terran here. The base goes down. Not the base he was looking for, the base he will get. And MARU here, suddenly his supply is plummeting through the floor. Now Reynor, he's up at 180. Now MARU is at 130. And yes, he will be able to take some of these high supply units on the retreat. But the bottom left base has been broken. The 4th base here from MARU has been broken here. The Corruptors are still alive. How many battlecruisers we have in the field? We still have those 3, but they don't have teleports anymore. And yes, maybe a mass repair is going to be what they need. The Yamatos are going to be what they need. But 1 battlecruiser is going to go down before the SCV repair can even be there. And that is now 1 less battlecruiser on the field. That's a lot less supply on the field here. And now Reynor, he's on the other side of the map, taking this last base down. One of the last mining bases for MARU. It's pretty much down to the middle left base at this point, and that is Reynor's next target as he's up 50 total supply in this game. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys, gals, non-binary pals, REYNOR, he won Katowice. He struggled in the regional events, but at this point here, he's up 60 supply. He's breaking on in, and I think we are going to have, of the Silver Surfers, a new gold medalist here in the global finals. What can MARU do at this point? He's going to be able to break this fight back of REYNOR, but it's not a matter of a single fight anymore. It's a matter of economy. It's a matter of bases. It's a matter of how much you have and how much you can rebuild. And at this point, MARU, he is functionally on 2 bases. Really, maybe even 1.5. REYNOR is able to resupply every time. And MARU is going to have to take some miracle fights here from here on out to fight his way back onto this game. He's got to take this 12 o'clock base. And I'm not convinced that there is a world where REYNOR allows him to do so. Well, it doesn't even matter whether he takes the upper right base, that's not in process yet, as now we do have REYNOR. He's going to move on into the left-hand side, which means this base, by the way, that has been sustaining MARU this entire game, it will get taken on down here with the Roaches, with the Ravagers. Bailey's looking to crash on in to whatever soft underbelly that they can find. Really not actually getting the best connections here. And the base actually is going to stay alive. So, nice hold there for MARU. Meanwhile, the Battlecruisers are finding value on the other side of the map. Maybe MARU is not as dead as I thought he was, right? He is still down heavily in supply. He is still down 50 supply, but he is getting he's really getting on top of REYNOR's economy at this point. He's not losing his own nearly as much as he previously was. But now, oh, the surround here, all the Cyclones are going to go on down. This is such a percentage. This is such an important part of MARU's army. It's going to go down. We will see the last of the Battlecruisers getting targeted on down as well. These +3 Corruptors are just doing such a good job. They die. And now MARU, he's on 76 supply. What does he have left? It looked like he may have been able to find the economic trades that he was looking for, but the answer is no. The Baileys are going to look to roll on in. Zergling's getting on top of things, and it's just too little too late. It's all on these this battle mech, this late game battle mech, these Hellions, these Cyclones, but they're not going to do enough. And GG, REYNOR is going to be your champion here in 7 games. Making the comeback after MARU evens things out. After MARU goes up 3-2, REYNOR is going to take the game. REYNOR's going to take the series. He's going to take the entire season. What a best of 7 we just got to witness.